Girl, brace yourself, because this story right here is pure chaos wrapped in diamonds and heartbreak. The kind of tea that burns your tongue before you even sip it. The internet has been absolutely losing its mind ever since the news dropped. Birdman and Toni Braxton's fairytale romance came crashing down just days after their secret wedding. Yes, you heard that right. From I do to I am done in what feels like the blink of an eye. But before you think this was just another celebrity split, oh no, baby, what we are uncovering is darker, dirtier, and far more twisted than anyone could have ever imagined. See, word started spreading like wildfire that Toni did not just walk away because of differences. She walked away because she allegedly found something she was never supposed to see. Something that tied Birdman directly to Diddy, and let us just say, what she found was not about music, money, or fame. It was about something that made her pack her bags faster than a hurricane warning in Miami. People close to the couple whispered that Toni stumbled upon evidence, messages, photos, maybe even recordings, that hinted Birdman was involved in some deeply questionable late-night dealings with Diddy. The same Diddy who has been surrounded by scandal after scandal lately. And when Toni put the pieces together, she did not even wait for explanations. She left quietly but completely, vanishing from his world like she had never been there. Now, this was not just gossip in a group chat. This story broke the internet. TMZ came out swinging with a bombshell report. Toni Braxton and Birdman secretly tied the knot on August 8, 2024. The ceremony was small, private, almost too perfect. But here's the twist: within just 2 weeks, Toni filed for divorce. 2 weeks. After 16 years of being together. Fans were confused, shocked, and heartbroken. She told the press she left because he was too good for her. But come on, who says that after 16 years? Nobody was buying it. And the internet? Oh, they went feral. Twitter exploded. TikTok was full of dramatic recreations of Toni packing her bags in slow motion. Memes were everywhere, people calling Birdman out for falling into what they called the wedding trap. Others accused Toni of playing the long game, saying maybe she just wanted that quick financial win. But the real ones, the ones who have been following this couple for years, they could feel that something was off. This was not heartbreak. This was betrayal. One fan wrote, "Toni did not leave for no reason. That woman saw something that broke her soul." Another commented, "Every time Diddy's name comes up, somebody's life gets messy." And honestly, they might not be wrong. Because behind the scenes, whispers are turning into full-blown storm clouds. The same industry insiders who once praised Birdman's loyalty are now going silent. And those who do speak? They say Toni's silence speaks louder than any interview ever could. So what really happened behind those diamond doors? Was it betrayal, manipulation, or something much bigger, something powerful enough to make a woman walk away from a man she loved for almost 2 decades? Girl, grab your drink. Because this story is only getting started. And just when we thought this roller coaster could not get any wilder, boom, Toni Braxton dropped a bombshell that sent shockwaves through the internet. According to reports, she demanded a jaw-dropping $160 million payout from Birdman. Yes, $160 million. That number alone had everyone asking the same burning question: did Toni Braxton ever truly love Birdman, or was this a long, perfectly executed plan to secure the ultimate bag? The internet went into meltdown mode. Twitter turned into a courtroom. TikTok became a full-blown investigation board. Fans were split, half in disbelief, half screaming, "Queen behavior." And then, out of nowhere, 50 Cent jumped in like he always does when the drama's too juicy to ignore. He reacted to the news saying, "WTF? Now watch what women are going to say." He added, "Well, if you held a man down for 16 years, you would want to be paid for it too." And just like that, the internet caught fire all over again. For weeks, things went silent. No new updates, no posts, no leaks. It was like the calm before a storm. But you know what they say about calm? It never lasts. Because out of nowhere, a video surfaced online, a leaked FaceTime clip showing Birdman, Toni Braxton, and her sister Tamar talking casually, like nothing ever happened. That video went viral faster than you could blink. And the comments? Oh, the comments were savage. People were calling Birdman out left and right. How dare he still be talking to her after everything that went down, one user wrote. Others were dragging him for not cutting ties, saying he was acting like a man still caught under her spell. After all, this was the same woman who allegedly tricked him into marriage, filed for divorce 2 weeks later, and then hit him with a $160 million demand like it was pocket change. But here is the twist: it was not just Birdman getting roasted. Toni Braxton was catching flames too. The internet turned into a digital battlefield. Some fans defended her, saying she was protecting herself after years of emotional chaos. Others called her manipulative, saying she played Birdman like a fiddle. One comment read, "She planned this whole thing like a Netflix drama, she knew what she was doing." Another said, "If you think Toni is innocent, you have not been paying attention." For a while, it looked like the chaos might finally die down. Everyone thought we were reaching the end of the saga, the court date was coming, the buzz was fading. But just when it started to feel over, the teapot exploded again. Sources close to Toni Braxton suddenly came forward, claiming she was done being painted as the villain. According to them, Toni was ready to tell her side, and that the real story behind her 2-week marriage was far more complicated than anyone online could imagine. Apparently, that "Birdman was too good for me" excuse? Yeah, that was never the truth. That was just her way of protecting herself from the press, a smokescreen to keep the paparazzi off her back while she was dealing with something much darker, something she could not yet say out loud. And now, it seems like Toni's silence was not guilt, it was survival. Because the whispers are back, louder than ever, and if what these sources are saying is even half true, we might be looking at one of the most shocking celebrity betrayals of the decade. At first, everyone thought this was just another celebrity breakup, a simple line for the blogs to run with, another Hollywood heartbreak. But behind the scenes? Oh, baby, it was a whole different story. Because according to sources close to Toni Braxton, what she allegedly discovered about Birdman was far darker than anyone could imagine. She was not just walking away from a man, she was running from something that felt evil. Sources claim that Toni started to notice Birdman's behavior changing in chilling ways. Late-night phone calls, secret meetings, sudden disappearances that he could not explain. And then, the rituals. Yes, rituals. People close to her say she allegedly witnessed Birdman performing disturbing ceremonies that involved animal sacrifices, strange chanting, and, let us just say, more blood than anyone would ever expect to see outside a horror movie. That was the breaking point. Toni's curiosity turned into fear. She started digging, connecting dots, looking through his private messages, and what she found allegedly led her to something sinister, a secret network of powerful music executives who were all tied together in ways that made her stomach turn. And one of those names? Diddy. According to insiders, Toni discovered that Birdman had allegedly bent the knee to Diddy more than once, not just as a business partner, but as someone seeking favors. Apparently, Diddy had direct communication with people even more powerful, royalty, politicians, and corporate giants. It was an entire web of influence stretching far beyond music. And when Toni realized what she had gotten herself into, she did not argue. She did not scream. She did not pack slowly. She vanished. Now, people online have seen the videos, Birdman at Diddy's infamous parties, surrounded by celebrities who later got caught up in scandal after scandal. There is even that one viral clip of Diddy kissing Birdman on camera, and while the internet tried to laugh it off at the time, in hindsight, it feels a little too suspicious, does it not? And that was just the tip of the iceberg. Because insiders say Birdman's involvement in these secret dealings did not just taint his image, it cost him control over his own empire. He might have been the face of Cash Money Records, but people inside the label started whispering that he was no longer the one calling the shots. Something, or someone, else was pulling the strings from behind closed doors. Those who worked there began noticing strange patterns, secret boardroom meetings nobody was supposed to know about, sudden artist removals, contracts voided overnight without reason. Even the artists were confused. Juvenile, one of Cash Money's earliest stars, openly said things were off. He claimed certain artists were being dropped mysteriously, as if someone outside the label had the final say. Fans caught on quickly. They started piecing things together, realizing Cash Money's empire had cracks, and those cracks were not caused by music disputes, but by something darker hiding beneath the surface. And of course, we cannot forget Birdman's reputation for not paying people what they were owed. Over the years, the list kept growing: producers, artists, collaborators. The most infamous of them all? Lil Wayne. When Wayne took Birdman to court, most people thought it was just a label beef. But the lawsuit revealed something huge. Birdman was ordered to cough up $51 million in unpaid royalties and damages dating all the way back to the Carter III era. $51 million gone, and that was before Toni Braxton even entered the courtroom. Even Jadakiss threw shade recently on his show, mocking Birdman's divorce, saying it was karma, that the man who refused to pay others was finally getting hit where it hurt most, his wallet. And that $160 million demand from Toni? Fans were calling it divine payback. But here is where things take another eerie turn. Birdman himself has not been looking the same. A clip from the Hot Boy reunion tour went viral recently, Birdman on stage, staring blankly into the crowd, moving slow, almost dazed. Fans flooded the comments saying he looked gone, empty, out of it. Some even accused him of being under the influence of something more than just exhaustion. But according to his close friend BG, that was not the case at all. He claimed what people saw on stage was not drugs or fatigue, it was something else. Something he could not explain, but that had been haunting Birdman ever since Toni walked away. And that might just be the scariest part of this entire story. BG eventually stepped forward to clear the air, trying to put out the flames before they turned into a full-blown inferno. He said Birdman was not high, not drunk, not on anything. He was just struggling to read the teleprompter, and those viral clips, the ones that made him look dazed and disconnected, were nothing more than bad camera angles. But in an industry built on illusions, even one bad angle can destroy a legacy. Because once the internet decides you look off, the truth no longer matters. The narrative does. And the narrative forming around Birdman was darker than anything he could have ever rapped about. See, in Hollywood, power never comes free. The whispers, the secret meetings, the unspoken deals, that is the real currency of fame. And when word got out that Birdman had allegedly bent the knee to Diddy and other powerful insiders to push cash money higher, people were stunned, but not surprised. Because if you have been watching this game long enough, you already know, success in this world is not just built on talent. It is built on loyalty, silence, and sacrifice. Hollywood runs on shadows. The public sees the red carpets, the Grammys, the luxury jets. But behind those velvet ropes, deals are made in whispers, deals that demand more than just signatures. In this industry, every favor has a price, and sometimes that price is your dignity. And it is not like Birdman was the first to play this game. Diddy himself was rumored to have done the same thing years ago, bowing to Clive Davis to secure power, influence, and the kind of money that could turn any producer into a god. So when Birdman's name started popping up in similar whispers, it did not feel random. It felt cyclical. Like history was repeating itself, one powerful man grooming another, and the cycle continuing under flashing lights and champagne smiles. For smaller label execs, the choices are brutal: either play by the unspoken rules or get locked out of every door that leads to real success. And that is why fans are torn. On one hand, they want to believe Birdman built his empire with hustle, grit, and street vision. On the other hand, they cannot ignore the disturbing patterns echoing through music history, the way success always seems to come with invisible strings attached. But here is what truly threw everyone off: the way Toni Braxton reacted when everything came crashing down. Her divorce was too sudden, too precise, too timed. She had been with Birdman for nearly 2 decades, through bankruptcies, illness, and scandal. Yet she walked away exactly when those whispers about rituals and backroom deals started resurfacing. Fans noticed. They said it felt less like heartbreak and more like strategy. Toni's silence became its own kind of statement. She never gave interviews, never addressed the rumors directly. Instead, she unfollowed Birdman on social media, appeared at red carpet events alone, and carefully avoided his name in every press run. That silence was deafening, the kind of silence that does not protect love, but survival. And that is when the internet flipped the narrative. Suddenly, Toni was no longer the woman who left too soon. She became the woman who escaped. The fragile survivor of a man allegedly tangled in things too dark to understand. The hashtags changed overnight. It went from "What did Birdman do?" to "Is Toni okay?" But the truth is, Toni Braxton has always carried herself like a storm in a silk dress. She has survived bankruptcy, lupus, and the cutthroat politics of the music industry. But this was different. This was not just another heartbreak, it was reputation warfare. And Toni knew, better than anyone, that in Hollywood, one wrong move can end you. So she withdrew quietly, not to heal, but to protect. Because when you are standing beside a man whose empire might be built on secrets, walking away is not betrayal. It is survival. Still, the internet thrives on duality. Every story needs a villain and a victim. And in this one, Birdman became the villain, and Toni, the fallen angel. But here is the part most people do not want to admit: it is not that simple. Birdman, for all his flaws, reshaped hip-hop. He signed Lil Wayne, built Cash Money Records from the ground up, and changed the sound of a generation. You can hate the man, but you cannot erase his impact. Maybe he made shady deals. Maybe he was caught in a system too powerful to fight. But when everyone's hands are dirty, who really gets to claim innocence? The most haunting thing about this story is how quickly public opinion turns. All it takes is one clip, one rumor, one misunderstood moment, and decades of legacy crumble into dust. Every photo gets reanalyzed, every lyric dissected, every past interview played in slow motion like a confession. People started seeing things that were always there: Birdman's cryptic talk about loyalty, his eerie calm when asked about power, his long ties with Hollywood execs who suddenly went quiet. Under the new lens of scandal, everything looked suspicious. And while BG's attempt to clear Birdman's name was noble, it came too late. Because once the internet decides who you are, truth no longer matters. The story does. And this story? It has only just begun. Meanwhile, Toni Braxton's narrative kept evolving like a storm changing direction midair. She started posting cryptic quotes about healing, divine protection, and self-worth, and each post felt like a coded message to the world, and maybe, to Birdman himself. Her comment section turned into a digital church, flooded with messages of support. Fans wrote, "Stay strong, Queen, and protect your peace." Some even went as far as to call her the next victim of the Hollywood machine. The irony was almost poetic. These were the same fans who once worshipped her relationship with Birdman. They called it proof that love could exist beyond fame and filters. They adored their contrast, Toni's quiet grace against Birdman's raw grit, her calm against his chaos. But love stories in Hollywood are fragile things, glass castles built in a hurricane. And when that first crack appeared, it did not just split the glass, it shattered the illusion. That crack came from whispers, power exchanges, secret meetings, and debts owed to forces that did not show up in contracts. In an industry where everyone is chasing immortality, ambition and desperation often look the same. And the idea that Birdman might have bowed to unseen hands, powerful elites who control the pulse of fame, sent fans spiraling. Suddenly, people were asking, how many other stars made the same deal and just never got caught? The saddest part? This was not new. It was a cycle, as old as fame itself. Every decade births its own scandal, a mogul accused of selling his soul, a partner left to pick up the pieces, and a public eager to pick sides. The names change. The headlines evolve. But the machinery of spectacle never sleeps. Birdman's reputation started to bleed. Toni's image began to gleam. And the media, well, they did what they always do. They turned pain into profit. Because in Hollywood, scandal sells better than truth. The internet loves a fallen king just as much as it loves a wounded queen. But behind the scenes, beyond the hashtags and headlines, you can almost feel the ache. For Birdman, watching his empire, something he built brick by brick, get turned into a circus must have been its own kind of heartbreak. For Toni, seeing the man she once defended torn apart publicly must have stung, even if she pretended not to care. Maybe she did not leave out of spite. Maybe she left out of survival. Because when your partner's name becomes synonymous with darkness, your own reflection starts to fade in the same shadow. And Toni Braxton's entire brand, her elegance, her grace, her spiritual calm, could not afford to drown in that storm. But time is cruel, and the internet's memory is short. Scandals burn bright, then disappear into the next trending disaster. What remains are the lessons, or the refusal to learn them. For some, this saga was a reminder of how power corrupts and how fame eats people alive. For others, it was proof that the world builds idols only to break them. BG's attempt to defend Birdman was meant to restore peace. Instead, it just kept the fire burning. Because once the internet writes your story, even the truth starts to sound like a press release. The clips will live forever. The rumors will evolve. And no matter how many statements come later, people will only believe what fits their version of the truth. Then came the spark that reignited it all, Toni Braxton's alleged exposé. When she allegedly claimed that Birdman had bound his body, social media detonated. The phrase alone was haunting, bound his body. It sounded spiritual, almost supernatural.